Okay, it is approximately 10:30 on a Friday. I had a fun little, innocent little, fun, good time video to put out tomorrow, but I just saw a notification that one MamaMax has made a return to YouTube. Now, for those of you who don't know, MamaMax is a YouTuber with 650,000 subscribers who was disgraced a good little while ago after a number of fuck-ups. He made a video where he clickbaited beloved king of YouTube, Moist Critical, as a sex offender, essentially, which is obviously not true and baseless. And he did this for attention, and because he was mad that he wasn't getting enough support in his efforts towards hunting down predators. That led to an influx of scrutiny on his channel, where a number of people pointed out that much of his predator investigations were at least partially or wholly fictional. He's been largely silent in response to this new scrutiny for a long time, and he's coming back with a fucking 2.5-hour video, which is so ass. Please at least make a Cliff Notes version. I'm just gonna take a look at this. This video is gonna be a little bit more casual. It's not gonna be something where I'm really pulling up a bunch of receipts and really organizing things. I'm just giving my my actual thoughts. Okay.
And so I reached out to institutions, journalists, lawyers, and experts in the field of cult psychology.
Okay, so he's explaining how he was reaching out to a bunch of people, trying to get them to help him in his pursuit of hunting down child predators, which is good. That's great. We should all be worried about that sort of thing. But as with the Jake Doolittle situation, there was no angel from heaven that came down and said, you are the one who needs to be the one pioneering this, and everybody needs to get behind you. That is a position that would require a significant amount of building credibility. And as has been demonstrated by MamaMax's fall from grace, credibility is in short supply on this channel.
But most notably, I reached out to my peers on YouTube. The most influential among them was Charlie, who has helped me in the past.
This also comes into play with MamaMax's video, if you remember that controversy that happened. I imagine most people who don't know the situation and don't know MamaMax will see this and just be like, what the fuck is going on here?
His support has always been invaluable, and since I've seen him fight corruption before, and he is one of the most respected voices on the platform, I truly believed he could make a difference. But it was difficult to get anyone to just listen to the survivors, and so I created artificial drama to get people's attention.
Artificial drama. That's a new one. That's a new phrase. That's a euphemism for clickbaiting false allegations. Artificial drama? Are you serious, dude?
I could literally cancel you, Charlie.
And to be clear, I was always upfront that the drama was fake.
That doesn't really fucking matter, though. That doesn't make it... It's still a completely classless and revolting tactic to use. Okay, so what's like a good click-through impression on a YouTube thumbnail? In my world, like a great click-through impression on a video is like 10%. Like 10% or slightly above 10% click-through impression is like you have a banger video. Say that's what his video was on the MamaMax. The thumbnail and title of the video were implying that Moist Critical is a child predator.
Or just a regular one. Or just a vanilla one. A garden variety predator, if you will. Hey, good morning. Look at the woods behind my house. Yeah, sorry. So I might say child predator a couple times in this video where I just mean predator. Child predator is a phrase that pops up in these discussions a lot, so sorry for not being super precise with my language, but yeah, it was late and I was getting tortured by a 2.5-hour video that was completely incoherent and flip-flopped back and forth between a ton of different topics. So yeah, the point is that even with a great click-through rate, you're still looking at 85 to 90% of people just seeing Charlie, Moist Critical, Predator, and not clicking through to the video. Obviously, that's a problem.
It doesn't matter that you were upfront, that you were clickbaiting like 2 minutes into the video because you're doing damage with that title. And it's also just disrespectful and gross.
And that worked. Until it didn't.
Stop ignoring MamaMax. Yeah, so here, you want me to talk about it a little bit? That rubbed me the wrong way.
I still don't feel good about that decision. But then, the people that I trusted, the people that I looked up to, the people that I considered my best friends, they all turned on me.
What? Could we get an apology, maybe? I still don't feel good about that decision. How about I'm sorry? How about that was gross? How about I undermined my own credibility? I don't feel good about that decision. It's not really like cutting it for me. Even just that statement's a very me-focused statement.
In an attempt to protect their own reputations, because they saw what was happening to me, and then they resorted to creating their own deceptions around me. So that way they could bury me. No one will ever believe what I say. I'm a fraud, I'm a liar, I'm a manipulator, I'm a deceiver, I'm a monster. And then they wiped their hands and pretended like I never existed. But I do exist. And I do have my own side to all of this. And that's what I'm doing now, is clarifying some things, presenting some new information that some of you might have not known. And hopefully in the near future we will resolve all of this drama so that way we can get back to the more important work. Do you acknowledge that you've made mistakes, and if so, which? Of course I've made mistakes. And I think one of my biggest mistakes was covering dangerous content at a time I was too immature and uneducated on the subject matter. It's important to note that I did not have a mentor. I did have some military training, but I was mostly learning as I was going. And I felt what I was doing was much too serious to ignore. The amount of child exploitation that is happening all over the internet still does not get enough exposure to this day. And that leads me to another big mistake.
You're not in an anime, my guy. I'm glad that we're at least not doing the format pitched down voice for this video. But you gotta stop it with this shit.
At the time, I felt I could do no wrong if entertainment helps bring awareness to these very real issues. But retrospectively, it just creates confusion around what's real and what's not in the long term. But I have been quite transparent about this since the very beginning.
Okay, so fucking what? You threw up a little disclaimer. That was the thing, was like, he would talk about like a real investigation he was having, but then he would just like make shit up and put it in there for dramatization. It was just like, okay, well, obviously you can't be trying to enact real justice or do anything in the real world if you're gonna fictionalize half of the story. Like, that's so obvious.
How would you explain that? It's like half fiction, half kind of a story?
I call it hybrid, like documentaries, because it's like, yeah,
Okay.
it is half fiction that is parallel to the real story, and then there's just the real story.
See, I was worried I would need to like go and back through the archive and like pull up receipts on some of my criticisms here, but to his credit, he is providing all the bullshit context. That, man, this guy just is inventing so many crazy new concepts. A hybrid documentary? Let me tell you about half of a real thing that you should be concerned about in real life, but half of it I made up. What? This guy with his fucking hybrid documentaries and his artificial drama. The like common thread between both of these concepts, which are exclusive to him, is let me tweak and reimagine all of reality so that I am the good guy. I am perceived in the best possible light.
There is so much information that I would include in this very video pertaining to previous investigations that I now cannot present because these drives have been taken down. I did not create a backup because I was not comfortable keeping all of this evidence of predators on my personal computer. So my team helped me upload it and let it go to the public. And since these were videos of predators getting naked and masturbating, under the impression that I am a minor,
That was a crazy shot. Okay, I take everything back about him being a wannabe anime villain. That's that was actually pure cinema.
And since they are gone, it has been very easy for everyone to say that they are just fake. But obviously they are not.
Wait, I'm a little confused about what he's saying now. So I deleted my own evidence, therefore I can't defend myself from claims that I'm a terrible investigator. Is that where we're at? Do we not see how that argument supports the other side?
Some of these same creators have covered them with me on multiple occasions. We made reports to the FBI and NCMEC together.
Okay, so he's going on a long diatribe about how he's worked with some of the creators who have since criticized him, and they've done investigations together. Now listen, I think it's fully possible that MamaMax has done some good work at one time or another. That's not really what's up for question here. It's his tactics in a few cases where he openly admits to fictionalizing half of the story he's talking about. Additionally, it's his blatant disrespect of his peers and his scummy tactics to try and drum up drama and views and support behind him, which ultimately is just good for him. Like I said, same thing with the Jake Doolittle thing. You can't use the fact that you are positioning your channel around a good cause as infinite buffer against any criticism, because you've positioned yourself where the good cause doing well and you financially doing well are completely in tandem. They're undivorceable. That's not inherently a bad thing, but what it does mean, logically, is that you have now lost the privilege of a public perspective that support of this cause is inherently selfless on your end. Obviously.
No, these are not paid actors. These are child predators. Some of them even have records.
I'm 7 minutes into this video so far, and he's talking about, no, actually, look at all these guys that I investigated that are real predators. That wasn't really what was ever in question. The fact that you talked about people who are confirmed predators has nothing to do with any of the criticisms that were levied your way.
Now, I'd like to clarify that I never actually claimed to personally get these arrests.
So what gives you the right to contend that every major celebrity on YouTube needs to rally behind you and put their clout and their money and their attention behind you? Because you're the predator hunter guy, except the examples that you're pointing out of legit predators, you fully admit you didn't even have anything to do with their arrests. And then the ones you are talking about being your investigation, you say are, what was the phrase?
I call it hybrid, like documentaries.
I don't understand how you think this makes you look good.
And I did ask my peers for feedback, which most of them did not have anything negative to say until after the backlash.
Did he just throw Oompaville under the bus? Did Oompaville privately co-sign the greatest cancellation of all time video? I like it, man. Not sure how to assist with the view. It's very different from anything I've ever done. It's sort of difficult to see exactly the point. Still feels like an arg, but it is good as fuck. You're just trying to get Charlie's attention. I don't know if this is new info or not, but that feels like a really duplicitous thing on Oompaville's end. Well, I can tell you, he was wrong about one thing. It was not, in fact, good as fuck.
Genuine question here. Why did you betray Night Docs despite all that he did for you? Is he lying, or is he telling the truth that you made false allegations concerning him? I actually really want to talk about this. So just for some background, I met Jim Pagel, creator of Night Docs, at PAX South 2020. This is where I also met Nexpo, Mudahar, and some other YouTubers. This was my first experience meeting other YouTubers, besides a random collaboration with Official Duck Studios in 2019.
All right, I'm going to make this way easier on you than it was on me last night. He devotes about an hour of this video to airing out his dirty laundry with these other YouTubers. And I, for the life of me, still can't figure out what the fuck it has to do with anything. So I'm skipping it.
Secondly, what's with suing your supposed friend Mudahar for $1 million, telling the victim that he's rich and so seeking $1 million would help with the case?
I've basically realized that this person wants to effectively sue me for a large chunk of money, okay? An obscene amount of money. Why? Because to me, all this appears is all I ever was to this man was an extremely rich friend who had enough social media clout for him to piggyback his stupid case off of.
My stupid case. So yeah, I thought he was my friend too.
A lot of these YouTubers love talking about holding people accountable for their wrongdoings and all that kind of shit. But when I try to say, hey, if you have any extra money, we are giving $500 a month. I know that you just put on your close friend story that you're making 15 grand off this brand deal. Hey, I would love the help. My views are down, but you're getting, I don't know, 50,000 subs a month. What are we doing here?
Just so everyone is clear on this, Mudahar digitally signed a non-disclosure agreement to protect the identities, testimonies, and evidence of the survivors, and was only allowed to release it with their consent. And then he breached that agreement multiple times.
Okay, I just got confirmation. Mudahar just fucking DM'd me.
Especially when there's...
Mudahar just fucking DM'd me saying that there's not even proof confirming that there's even evidence. I thought he was bullshitting about the NDA. If Mudahar actually did have to sign an NDA to see the information, he broke that NDA with me because he told me in my DMs that it's what the evidence is.
Keep in mind, Mudahar did not talk to any of the survivors when he was leaking this information, and he is the very reason why people were not taking the evidence seriously.
Look, there are real people that I believe have been hurt by this, and for that considering, I am giving my full support as much as I can. Speaking with more of the victims after this call myself, I feel very disgusted hearing any more about the situation and the things that have been alleged to go behind it, which is why I'm doing my due diligence to at least try and help these victims out, but privately. Not a public spectacle like Max is doing. And I think the NDA stuff is really wild too. It's like, obviously, I think NDAs are like designed to, I feel like it's almost like a way to add some level of credence to this. Like there's some crazy case, like NDAs aren't enforceable in this situation. Like, I mean, I could leak out everything. What's gonna happen? Are you gonna sue me or something?
So what this means is that Mudahar Anas signed an NDA under false pretenses with the intention to release information without the consent of the survivors.
But you're going publicly and saying that to everybody else when you haven't spoken to the others. I'm just trying to understand, why would you do that without talking to us?
Which can fall under breach of contract, defamation, negligence, and since this does pertain to a criminal investigation, it could also fall under tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, and contempt of court. I've actually been speaking with multiple legal professionals who all seem to think we have a very solid case. And given what's happened with Carl Jobst recently, I'm pretty confident that we could sue Mudahar for a lot more than $1 million.
So MamaMax is intent upon suing Mudahar for over $1 million because apparently he broke an NDA in his investigation of MamaMax's really shoddy investigation into a potential victim situation. For me, with the level of knowledge I have on it right now, it's kind of hard to really say anything else. Him citing the Carl Jost lawsuit is a little crazy because from a PR standpoint, I don't know if it's going to really gain MamaMax any favor to align himself with Billy Mays and draw comparisons there.
I am giving my full support as much as I can, whether that be emotionally, whether that be helping them liaison with actual law enforcement agents or lawyers, and providing whatever form of financial, benefit that I can, reasonably provide.
But that has yet to come to fruition, because from what the survivors have told me, Mudahar has not actually provided any financial, legal, or emotional support like he's been publicly claiming.
I don't really see how this wards off the allegations against MamaMax that he is a leech on the YouTube community trying to garner clout, attention, and money out of all of his peers. That he's sort of gleefully pursuing the possibility of siphoning $1 million out of Mutahar for breaking an NDA.
He was actively undermining the awareness campaign. He was reaching out to historical detractors of the channel and going on live streams with them before talking to me or any of the survivors and talking shit about the case. Here's just one example out of many.
Well, you know what have made this a whole lot less messy? Is if you didn't fictionalize half of the case.
Mutahar repeatedly attacked us on the live streams of people who hate me.
Oh, boo fucking who, dude? For MamaMax to be positioning himself as this authority, as the adult in the room, as the professional who is professionally pursuing an investigation, a harbinger of justice, he really kneecaps his own case for portraying himself like that when he throws in complaints like, Mutahar went on live streams of people who don't like me. Why would he do that? Why would he go on live streams of people who don't like my channel?
The fact that this is the first person Mutahar chooses to speak with about this case should speak volumes about Mutahar's true intentions.
Or maybe he's just exploring every angle. That's probably not a concept you've ever thought of. Maybe it's good to get a variety of perspectives and figure out what the truth of a situation is.
I'm angry. I'm legitimately angry. And
well, I mean, I'm like I want you to tell me more. I like it's like the anger is good. It's just like fucking you gotta.
I can't think straight.
I am learning.
I am learning from the angry man who just said he can't think straight. No, yeah, the anger is good. It's not like it clouds your judgment and obstructs critical thinking.
Critical thinking is not a phrase you should be using in this video. This is like the most like petty slop drama ever in your official response where you're trying to portray yourself as like this intensive journalist who should be respected, who deserves to get $1 million out of Mutahar for breaking an NDA about your very serious grown-up adult investigation. And you're bitching and moaning about him talking to a guy that doesn't like you. That's your smoking gun, is you talk to a guy that doesn't like you.
Can you send in the video he made on me? Can you send Muta the video he made on me that one summer?
Please teach me your ways, washed up commentary channel number 46,853.
Tommy, that video was not about you. I gave you a 3-minute segment, and rest assured, Mutahar already watched it. This is the text he sent me after he watched it. I think you put our friend Tommy on suicide watch, bro. Wait, for real? Lol, I saw the first part. LMFAO. If he didn't already, he probably should.
This is like so middle school. Like, oh, Mutahar talked to you about the criticisms levied against me? Well, did you know that he said a bad thing about you once? Did you know that he said mean stuff about you behind your back? That's not like this is not professional journalistic behavior.
All of a sudden, he is pretending to be best friends with Tommy C.
Cry me a fucking river, dude. I don't care about any of this.
He has no respect for any other creator. He has zero respect for his own audience.
A lot of people watching YouTube cannot critically think anymore. So when that video came out, and I was like, I'm reading the comments, I'm like, yo, they're eating this shit up. What the and then like I make a video and everyone, yeah. And then like I make a video and everyone like flips. I'm like, you guys are the worst people. You cannot critically think whatsoever.
It's not that your audience can't critically think. It's the fact that we have misplaced our trust in you.
Okay, I mean, that means the same thing. If misplacing one's trust in a YouTuber means you no longer can critically think about a situation, then you can't critically think. It's not a mystery that YouTube audiences can't critically think. Have you been here on this platform? Does anybody think that that's not a true statement, that YouTube audiences, as a general rule, can't critically think?
Whole lot of editorial input on this video. Sorry about that. It was just really hard to organize anything because the video itself really feels like it jumps from topic to topic at a breakneck speed. But he starts talking about the case again, and the main victim of the case he was working with, Spencer, you'll hear that name come up quite a bit, and talking about how disappointed he was nobody wanted to help him with his case. So that's what he just kind of launches into straight off of the Mutahar thing here.
And none of them wanted to listen.
Your involvement would entail a brief 15-minute session, allotting 3 minutes per survivor. A subsequent Q&A is optional.
The Q&A is optional. No, brother, I think the whole thing's optional.
No one showed up. I was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna launch this case into everyone's face by fake canceling Charlie. And I was praying, I was hoping that he would just sit down and listen to them. And I know the importance of this case and cases like this will only grow as time continues. So maybe one day it will carry the urgency that it deserves. But Mutahar divided all of the survivors and made sure that they didn't talk. And that's really sad. So why did you lie about certain predators being in police custody, such as Zach Haddad, aka Pablo Sonny, when in reality you didn't know if he was in police custody? I was just dispensing the information that I was given. So just for quick context, Pablo Sonny is a child predator we found on IMVU. He has multiple victims that I made contact with on the platform, and I confirmed that he was grooming minors via direct investigation. We verified his face with a specific hand gesture, and his voice can be confirmed by his friends. You can watch the full videos if you want more detail, but here's a paraphrased version of our call.
You know I'm 14 though,
Wait, what? Does this guy not save any evidence? What do you mean a paraphrased version of your call? Why don't you have the call? Just honestly, I'm not saying that he's faking this call. I'm not saying that there wasn't real investigatory, not real investigatory work. I'm just asking, why the fuck do you no longer have a copy of the call? If this is your thing, you're the guy who investigates this shit. You just deleted it? Did you not record it? I don't understand. This whole video is you defending your entire reputation as a legitimate person who investigates sexual predators. And the evidence you're bringing forward of your investigations, you don't even have anymore. You have to paraphrase it. How is that supposed to make any of us take you seriously?
During this time, I went on a few podcasts and explained what was going on based on the information I had. Since this was a developing story, I make it clear that I don't know the full details.
What is your primary goal? Is that then? There's no. What's your other?
Well, I guess the question is like the next getting at is like, okay, so you want to enact this change. What do you hope is the eventual result of your video?
Okay.
Of all of this.
So I know there's people out there saying I'm doing it to self-serve. I just want my video back up. I don't give a shit if my video comes back up. It did what it needed to do. So that was in the video is currently in police custody. And it
was that as a result of your video, or was that prior to the video?
Yes, it was because of the video. Right. The video was about IMVU and this one predator. I made it about him and him alone.
IMVU is a game, right? You played the game and you exposed this guy.
Yes.
Do you mind walking me through the chain of events that led from your video to him being imprisoned?
Yeah, so I dropped the video. The end of the video is a call to action. Usually all my videos are a call to action, like find him, and we did.
So in this case, find him meant like you didn't know who he was. You wanted his doc so he could go to jail.
All we had was his face and his voice.
Right.
And out of that, I said find him, and then within 24 hours, we found him. And then I started social engineering all of his friends to give me his information, and they did. And then we pegged him. He fled to Mexico. We found where he was in Mexico.
Wow.
I don't know if the police, he was from Canada. So I don't know if the police asked him to come back.
As all terrible people are.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if the police asked him to come back or he went on his own volition or they forced him to come back. I don't know any of those details. I just know he went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time.
So you lied.
No, Nicholas. Let's play the full clip.
He went back to Canada and was in police custody for a certain amount of time. I don't know if they did anything yet, but I will be making an update video about him soon.
So he was arrested at some point. It's fair to say that. You know that.
I don't know if it was he was arrested or they just like interrogated him. Like, you know how police they don't have to arrest you to question you.
Right.
Because I don't know if his victims, he did have previous victims before my video. I don't know if they ever spoke to the police about it. I was talking to one of them, but she hasn't been responsive recently. So I'm in the dark so far, but we're going to get back on that after we finish this shit with YouTube.
So you did find out who he is. You did find out who he is, but you didn't put him in jail. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if we put him in jail, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Pretty funny how these commentary channels keep cutting out context to these clips and then misquoting me completely.
Well, it sounds like what you were actually doing was just double speaking, or you made a claim, and then when they asked you to expound upon the claim, you realized that you were kind of lying and you just backed off of it a little bit. That kind of seems more like what the situation was, which is, kind of on par for the criticisms you've been receiving.
I don't give a shit if my video comes back up. It did what it needed to do. So that was in the video, is currently in police custody. And it
was that as a result of your video, or was that prior to the video?
Yes, it was because of the video.
Yeah, you said it right there. He's currently in police custody. Was that as a result of your video? Yes. And then they press you for more details, and you kind of loosen up your language a little bit and back off of that claim.
I don't know if we put him in jail, is what I'm saying.
All right, now we're jumping again back to this time Spencer, the main victim of this investigation. That's such a shit show. He starts to talk a lot about Spencer now, and it gets pretty wild. Also, look at my drums.
Why is Spencer claiming you're starving her? Just for context, Spencer is the cult survivor.
Oh my gosh, this gets messier and messier. The victim he's working with is claiming he's starving her? I didn't even hear about that. No.
Looks like Spencer is on Facebook in groups asking for money for moving. She is claiming Max is domestically abusing her and starving her. She doesn't say his name, but it's very implied because she lives with him.
Wait. The victim of this sex cult that you were helping was living with you? That just feels... I mean, if she needs help, make sure she's not on the street for sure, but that doesn't feel above reproach. You know what I'm saying? That's just so inherently messy.
I met this young girl online from a post she shared in a local group. She's doing her best to get out of a really bad domestic situation. She's trying to get back local to stay with friends where she will no longer have to starve, but can't bring herself to abandon her dog there. I know some don't get it, but some will. She found a friend who will foster her dog until she gets on her feet. She just needs some help. Even small donations add up.
This is the fucking scam. Where's my nacho fries? Yeah, dude.
All I can tell you is that we had plenty of food when she was living here. We always got her food every time she asked. When she wasn't buying her own food, I would go to the food bank and get her food or pay for her food or share our food with her. I even got her $31.63 worth of Taco Bell while she was packing her stuff.
Why do you have so much evidence of food? Of all the things you should have kept backups of evidence, this was the least important thing. You didn't even have a copy of your phone call with the predator that you were trying to sting. But you have the Library of Alexandria's worth of backups of pictures of food that you were feeding this woman. Why'd you take so many pictures of this shit?
So apparently one of her friends leaked a private message that I guess she was sending out to all her friends. So I ended up moving in with the YouTuber that was supposed to help me expose the cult as it was my last resort. So this is true. Spencer moved in because she was in the middle of a crisis, getting kicked out of her family home. She had nowhere else to stay. And since we were making a documentary, I thought it would be beneficial to have her close, especially since a big part of this documentary was to get her independence. There's also multiple people living at my house. She's been a family friend for years, and so I didn't think it would be weird.
It is weird. Listen, if you're trying to help somebody out, I'm all in support of that, but this is so messy. I just feel like you're opening yourself up for so much there, which obviously you were, because look where we are.
But of course, the internet made malicious rumors about us because of this.
Well, no, not the internet. It sounds like Spencer herself made malicious rumors, or rumors, depending on whose side we're taking here.
Retrospect, it was a bad idea. I know, guys. You tried to tell me. Because she is a disrespectful roommate, a very demanding individual, and a hyper-reactive personality.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait, and so this was the person that you were attacking everybody over not immediately backing her and supporting your investigation into her story. Listen, I don't know what happened. Very possible bad stuff happened. You attacked everybody over not helping you get this story out. And now she, the same person, is sharing a story claiming that you were abusive, and you're saying, no, don't believe that one. I defamed Moist Critical over not helping me promote Spencer's other story. But this story from Spencer, nobody, pay no mind to that one.
Well, he only wanted to help for the money, so he never paid any of my medical from the start. This isn't true. I paid for her first few bills, but then after everything that happened, I literally could not afford to even keep us in this house unless we were all working together.
What a fucking moron, dude. Why do you think this video makes you look better? Why would you put any of this in here?
He was buying food at first, but then he tanked his career, which in turn has people convinced I'm a bad person like him, so people are stalking me online, and wants me out because he's not making money off of me, but still wants to make money off of me. I never wanted to make money off of her. I even told her she didn't want to do the documentary, and I told her that's okay. Hey Spencer, your birthday is coming up later this month, and I'd like to take you back to Wiley to be with your family. While we're there, we should figure out the healthiest living situation for you. This current one isn't supporting the best lifestyle for any of us, and I don't want to add unnecessary pressure by pushing too hard or dealing with an eviction process. I still believe your story is incredibly important and should be shared with the world. I'd like to help you write a memoir about your experiences both in and out of the cult alongside finishing this documentary. Let me know what you think and if you have any questions. I guess I'll have to find housing for Belfie so I don't lose him for good. Anywhere I'd have to go, can't house him. And honestly, I'd rather not do the documentary or anything else regarding the cult. It's not good for my mental health, and I don't ever want to be in the public eye again after what happened. We can care for Belf if needed. And I don't blame you, we don't have to do the documentary. Your health is priority. But later down the line when you're feeling better, you should absolutely consider writing a book.
I mean, it does seem like you're pressuring her a little bit to try and make some sort of content off of this thing. That is the way it kind of comes across.
I simply wanted to document her experience throughout this entire process. I figured out a foster for my dog until I can figure permanent housing out. So I offered to keep him because I love that guy. And she said it was the last resort. Rest assured, Belf will always be yours, but we'll take good care of him if you need us to. I know things were tense at times living together, but I think time and space will help. You'll always have a friend in me, and if you ever want to talk, please reach out. I still believe you have an important story that needs to be heard, now more than ever.
Yeah, see, he's still pushing her to make content. He's doing it slyly, but he is.
I'm currently seeking a home for Belfie, as him staying here would be last resort, and I would hate to burden you further with taking care of him. You are right, this is an important story, but at this time I think I need to put the project on hold as I try to work on myself.
Yeah, again, so it seems like the thrust of this section of the video is that the victim off of which you hinged this entire situation that led to your downfall, you're saying is very mentally unstable and not a reliable source of information. That's not to say she isn't a victim of something, but it is to say the dream team here is someone who's very mentally unstable, is not a reliable narrator at all, and an investigator who doesn't even save copies of the shit he's investigating.
What the absolute hell did you send me? It's for AI training. It's legit, I promise. Dude, I don't have the brain capacity to do everything at once. If this is the application, how hard is the job? That's just my recommendation. I won't force it on you if you don't want it. But also, don't give up so easily. I believe in you, but believing in yourself is what truly matters.
This is such a weird relationship. It's just weird. He has a savior complex. He's very, emotionally lovey-dovey with her. This whole thing's such a train wreck from every angle.
Gaslights me and also tried to convince me to break up with Michael. I don't know what she means by gaslighting her, and I never tried to convince her to break up with her boyfriend. I was just asking her if she was in a healthy relationship.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. This is not appropriate. Oh my god.
By her own words, she has been in abusive relationships before. And as a friend, this current one didn't look that great. To me and pretty much everyone else. Mainly because he enables her self-isolation. She stayed in her room and talked to him 24/7. That looked very unhealthy to me.
Oh my gosh. What the? This guy's such a fuck up. I didn't realize he was this much of a fuck up.
Okay, next up we have the money that was raised in the whole process of initially talking about this situation with this supposed sex cult and the various victims of it. I think it was about $5,000. He was supposed to distribute that evenly amongst Spencer and a couple other survivors. Spencer, while living at his house, apparently was very destructive. There was some property damage. He doesn't go into that much. He also was paying for her dog's food and stuff like that. So he deducted some of what he said he was initially going to pay her for his expenses of her kind of being a little bit of a mess.
I decided it was better to give the rest of the money to the other survivors because Spencer used the money for personal expenses. No, you said you would be paying me $3,300. You don't get to go back on that after a little bit of time has passed. You do not get to make decisions about where the funds go without talking with me about it.
Yeah, okay. So this person's just completely mentally unstable, takes advantage of any charity she gets. And he's too much of a fucking moron to understand that what he's doing is not helpful. He seems to hyper-emotionalize everything he's involved in. He has a savior complex. He seems pretty easily manipulatable. Those just aren't good marks for someone who's trying to be in charge of a situation like this.
Okay, and now we're talking about Moist Critical finally. I don't know why now. Really frustrating to me because we were just talking about Spencer. We're going to talk about Moist Critical, and then we're going to go back to Spencer. I don't know why he organized this video like this, and it's really pissing me off.
We talked like a month ago about like what he was working on in his investigation, and then apparently when I had COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it. And now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission. And it really rubs me the wrong way. Instead of just he jumping to the most extreme possible explanation for me not seeing it, which is really fucking cringe. That did make me upset.
I can see now that he felt blindsided and hurt, which is fair. However, I think it's important to lay out the facts.
See, the fact that you're still like, well, let's lay down the actual facts. I understand that he was justifiably upset about what I did, but let's go through the actual facts. It doesn't matter at this point. Whether he was sick, wasn't able to look at your stuff because he was sick, or whether he did actually have the bandwidth and just didn't want to be involved in your thing, doesn't really change the brass tacks of he didn't fucking owe you anything, dude.
So according to his own uploads, Charlie had COVID from October 30th to November 2nd.
It is possible that some of those videos were pre-recorded. I don't know if that's... Maybe they weren't, but, you know, that's just another consideration.
But he claimed he was not doing anything online.
And then I spent 12 days not doing anything online in bed. I barely used Discord in the first place. It was a miracle I ever even saw his message to begin with.
So the app was open on his desktop, and you're saying no, he was definitely he was logging into Discord every day, I'm sure. Actually, if he put an ounce of the effort he puts into investigating Charlie's Discord usage and his story of having COVID, maybe he actually would have done a good job with some of these Predator investigations.
This was never supposed to be about me or Charlie. It was supposed to be about the survivors who deserved to have their stories heard.
Okay, well, it sounds like you could have just left this out of this response then. If it was never supposed to be about you and Charlie. This doesn't really seem like that important.
When did you stop stalking and harassing? So just a quick recap. I have multiple ex-partners that have accused me of some pretty horrible things. I made a video addressing this. I did not go into too much detail. I just tried to answer what I felt was necessary. But out of respect for their privacy, I would prefer to leave them alone, just as I would prefer for them to leave me alone. But in short, these relationships were not healthy, and they did not end well. I did my best to be kind and take care of them when they were struggling, but it didn't work out in the end for many reasons. But when these relationships ended, I guess since I have a platform and to deplatform me, some of them have continued doing this for multiple years, and over the years their stories have changed. They delete old allegations and create new ones.
I mean, this is just so he said, she said at this point. But, you know, it is really weird how much, like, intense, hyper-emotionalized drama follows this man around everywhere in his life. That doesn't mean he did anything wrong with these other women. There's no, you know, I haven't seen any proof of that. I wouldn't make any allegations in the absence of proof. Certainly his self-admitted interactions with this Spencer character kind of betrays the fact that he has a hard time with boundaries, and he has a hard time not hyper-emotionalizing things. He just doesn't really seem like a very stable person at all in any areas of his life.
Did you have a nervous breakdown? But seriously, did I? I don't think so. Why do so many feel like you owe them something? You deserve to be and do whatever it is that you love. People are too judgmental. Please continue to be who you are. That is really... That really is heartwarming.
Don't give a fuck. That's the one loyal fan comment that you're cherry picking? Why do so many people feel like you owe them something? That's the one you're gonna harp on? Why do other people feel like you owe them something? What? What is it?
What are we doing here?
What breed is your dog? It's the cutest. Thank you. So I have 4 very good dogs.
What the fuck are we... What is this video? Don't you feel like, given how serious this subject matter is, maybe it would be appropriate to respect everyone's time a little bit more?
He sheds a lot of hair, and I have to groom him almost every week. I don't know anything about his past. I don't even know how old he is. But he is one of the sweetest and most handsome gentlemen I have ever gotten the pleasure to know. But she's so loving once you get to know her.
Holy shit, dude.
And 4th was Belfgor. And this is where our story comes full circle.
Okay, what are you, fucking Christopher Nolan?
Belfgor represents the closing chapter for this part of my life, and he is the very reason why I'm finally able to make this video. It all began when Spencer asked if I could help her get a service dog. I've always believed dogs are among the most loving companions, and I thought one could help her learn responsibility and heal emotionally, so I agreed. Since we couldn't afford the steep cost of a trained service dog, we made a deal. Spencer would raise and train one herself. She found the breed she wanted, and soon after, we brought home this beautiful boy, Belfgor. At first, Spencer did a decent job taking care of him, but as her awareness campaign gained traction, she became increasingly consumed by the gossip and drama surrounding her, and slowly she began neglecting Belfgor. I stepped in, taking over his care, and over the course of that year, Belfgor and I formed an unbreakable bond. I loved him deeply and wanted to keep him. But when Spencer's behavior led to her eviction from our household, I felt obligated to honor our original agreement, and I let her take him.
Oh my gosh. Okay, alright. So let me get this straight. You're doing an investigation, trying to help this girl who says she was in a sex cult. You invite her to live at your house. You get a dog with her. A dog that you expect her to train to be a service dog. Not the easiest of tasks. You think she's going to be able to do that despite all of her obvious mental issues. You form an emotional bond with the dog. I feel like this is just like so many onion layers of inappropriate.
This felt like the worst thing I'd ever done in my entire life. I raised Belfgor as if he were my own.
Okay, so you view the dog as your own, and you're possessive over the dog that you explicitly got for this woman to help her, even though she clearly lacked the bandwidth and the mental ability to train the dog in the way it would need to be trained to be a service dog for her. Regardless, the explicit purpose of getting this dog was to help this woman, and now you're possessive over it when she's leaving your house.
When he finally arrived at his destination, I tried to make peace with the fact that his life was no longer in my hands. But as time passed, Spencer stopped updating us about him.
Yeah, probably because it's not your fucking dog, dude. What do you want, custody on weekends? Like, what the hell?
Days turned into weeks, then months, and my worry grew into despair.
Because it's not your fucking dog. Let it go. It wasn't appropriate for you to form an emotional bond to this dog that's gonna fuck you up this bad.
And one day, I noticed that a survivor of Camden, and the very same dog trainer now caring for Belfgor, was online. I reached out. Hey, how's Belfgor doing? Spencer hasn't shared much about him, but we've been thinking about him and just wanted to check in. If he needs any help with food or meds, let us know. We'd be happy to support however we can. We miss the big guy. To my relief, she responded. Belfgor was okay. I soon learned that Spencer hadn't been keeping in touch with her, and that Belfgor might not even be suitable for service work. I told the trainer I'd be more than happy to take Belfgor back if Spencer no longer wanted him.
Okay.
Explained to me that Spencer was considering rehoming him, so I immediately made my claim. But when the trainer informed Spencer of my intentions, she fought back. I sent a formal letter to both Spencer and the trainer, asserting my legal ownership over Belfgor. All his paperwork was under my name. Spencer retaliated, threatening a restraining order if I didn't back down.
Can this guy do anything right? I mean, this Spencer character obviously doesn't seem like at all well-adjusted person and was probably a nightmare to live with. Point is, though, she seems to be incredibly mentally unwell, and I feel like that should have been pretty obvious to you from the get-go. Now you're going to war with her because you feel possessive over a dog that you guys got for her. I just feel like this is going to be wreaking havoc on her mental state even more for the next several years. You have a responsibility not to put yourself in a situation where you're going to create drama with this girl. You should have known not to get emotionally involved with some dog that was for her.
Spencer sent me a cease and desist letter, trying to prevent the shelter from releasing Belfgor to me. I fired back with my own cease and desist, declaring my rightful ownership and my determination to bring him home. Spencer's threats wouldn't stop me. I was going to get my dog back, no matter what.
2 seconds earlier.
Rest assured, Belf will always be yours. Belf will always be yours. I was going to get my dog back.
Hold on. Unique features, he has Korean eyes? What is it? What? I've never seen someone so convinced they're the main character.
Come here, buddy. You remember me. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I missed you, buddy. I missed you, buddy. Oh, good boy.
I am beyond happy right now. Wow. He recognized me out here.
Isn't this gonna be so great on this girl that he took into his house, said he was gonna help her with her cause?
2 seconds earlier.
This was never supposed to be about me. It was supposed to be about the survivors who deserved to have their stories heard. So to finish answering your question, Belfgor is a Great Dane Labrador mix.
I don't give a fuck, dude. Okay, that's where we're ending this. Is okay. We're just talking about your dogs for like 15 minutes. Yeah, all right. So takeaways. This guy's mentally unstable and really dumb. Just really, really dumb. Has a real intense sense of entitlement. Also, apparently, Mutahar is staring down the barrel of $1 million lawsuit because of this. So that's interesting. I'm going to be interested to see how he responds to this. This kind of reminds me of that TV show Maniac, miniseries on Netflix, I think, where a bunch of patients come in to test a drug that's supposed to fix your mentally ill brain. And then throughout the series, you slowly realize that every single character, including the patients, spanning up from the doctors, the helpers, the CEO of the company, the organizers, every single person in the show is like equally mentally crippled in some way or another. That kind of seems like what's going on here. Just this entire operation is fucked. Yeah.